NATO ships dock in Helsinki for first time since Finland's accession.
Here's a summary of the article.
NATO ships have docked in Helsinki for the first time since Finland officially joined the Defence Alliance earlier this month. The German Navy's FGS Mecklenburg-Vorpommern and the Portuguese Navy's NRP Bartolomeu Dias are both part of the standing NATO Maritime Group 1, a NATO naval immediate response unit. We are probably the first force in the armed forces to host a visit as a NATO member state. It is of course a great honor for us, said Commander Jan-Erik Atos, the Coastal Fleet's Chief of Staff. The ships have previously docked in Turku and Helsinki, and according to Atos, the visit is not very different from when Finland was not a NATO member state. We have been cooperating with NATO for decades. We have done things in the same way as NATO does. Now, of course, we have access to numerous documents and a better understanding of NATO's working methods, Atos told YLE. Marx also highlighted another benefit of Finland becoming a NATO member, as the Finnish Navy invited the visiting crews to a sauna evening. Marx described Finland's accession to NATO as fast.
This post received a score of 6,900, with an upvote ratio of 98%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Isn't technically every Finn ship a NATO ship now, or does NATO have separate ships under the alliance command?
It's Finnish-owned but under NATO command when military exercises or war occur.
What does that noise mean? War were declared.
Gentlemen, the key to victory is the element of surprise. Surprise.
So far, Putin's efforts have brought nothing but opposite results. History will probably record him as one of the most incompetent bumbling leader, single-handedly destroying his own country and laughingstock of the world.
The Jim Cramer of geopolitics.
Thank you for this. Welcome Finnish friends to NATO, smiley face.
I can't imagine how fucking terrifying this must be for one of the few competent Russian military leaders. Helsinki is less than 1,000 km away from that mega naval base in Arkhangelsk and is basically on the doorstep of St. Petersburg and Kaliningrad.
If they are competent, they ought to know they have nothing to fear as long as they stay out of NATO territory.
Agreed. They can paint NATO as the bad guys all they want, but they forget, NATO is a defensive alliance, not an offensive one. Unless they start shit, they won't have to worry about getting their shit kicked in.
Greater than NATO is a defensive alliance, shout it from the rooftops. Seems like a lot of people like twisting this fact.
It's projection, pure and simple. Russian leaders can't imagine any military structure not being offensive in purpose. Because if they had an alliance as strong as NATO and an enemy as weak as Russia, they'd have rolled in years ago.
Looking at Google Maps, Helsinki is in the perfect place to interdict shipping from St. Petersburg. Stella Leningrad has some kind of oil storage terminal. Looks like a sizable port. 59.8851166697064484, 30.19311581411316 has a bunch of shipping containers and a deep water port. Putin really messed up by pushing Finland into NATO.
There was a good video done up about the strategic impacts of them joining. Practically every tactical limitation of NATO is now fixed if both Sweden and Finland join. As well, they now have a more easily feasible way of reinforcing the Suwalki Gap, which was a corridor where effectively estimated in warfare would allow Russia to cut off the Baltic states from NATO. On top of which NATO can put missile detection systems on Russia's doorstep very close to their nuclear stockpile. A tactical disaster if Putin would have wanted to cause WW3.
How do people know where Russia's nuclear stockpile is? I assumed it would be distributed over numerous sites and some of them be very much secret and hidden. If someone could knock that out, it would change so much.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.